You fundamentally have to go figure out what part. Will AI be able to reduce how many product managers you need?
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. I buy that.
Will it be able to replace the role of product management? Not in a million years. And you are going to create a watered down result by leveraging AI to be able to figure that out.
So I think part of his point was it's going to be able to go parse all the data. You don't feel like it can parse the data and come back and tell you where you should focus effort in the product?
Right. I mean, I guess you could go incrementally make a benefit in some specific product because AI helped you figure that out. But that doesn't mean that you're fundamentally changing the strategy based on AI. AI isn't doing that task for you.
Isn't coming up with the strategy.
It's not.
Okay.
In my view, it's not.
And his point was, where people go on vacation unexpectedly or something like that, or there's competing priorities and stuff, that's going to require a human to kind of weigh. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
or is that where Musk is right? AI is going to get better at it.
Oh, Musk. I think AI could potentially help with that if you start thinking about prioritization and understanding where to be most effective. Then the aspect of what you have to do when things go awry with scope creep and someone going on vacation or sick, you just have to figure out how to prioritize, and it's a game of priorities.
This is the Frictionless Experience, the podcast where we lay waste to digital friction. I'm Chuck Moxley.
And I'm Nick Palladino.
Now, if you're a regular subscriber to the show, you may have noticed that we've been shaking things up a bit and trying some new formats. Well, and frankly, Nick, it's expected considering we launched a podcast nearly a year ago and we've already published 23 episodes. So, time to shake things up. This week, we're back together again at the Sweetfish Creator House in Orlando. This is our second episode that we shot together at that venue. And we had a blast recording several episodes together at the Creator House. No guests, just the two of us sitting on a couch, sharing our insights. Nick, what do you think about that experience at the Creator House and this new format of episodes we're testing?
I think it was a really fun experience. For one thing more profound than the rest, and that's just what it meant to be interacting with you in between the actual shots. Like when we weren't on camera, when we weren't actually recording, what it meant to prep, what it meant to talk, what it meant to just, have a cup of coffee together, because it really created some more dynamic ideas when we actually did sit down and start to look at the camera and, talk to each other. It created this really organic vibe that was frankly not as well matched in a I guess a remote sense.
Yeah, a good point. And if you aren't aware, I live in Phoenix, Nick lives in Atlanta, so our chances to get together are pretty slim. But in this case, we both met up in Orlando for 2 days and had a chance. And I think you have a good point, because we even talked about it that evening, in between shoots, because we did it over 2 days. So I think that was a great opportunity. Hopefully we'll have more like that.
Well, I've been working on building this little office space over here, so I'd be happy to host you, and then we can maybe record from right here.
So on today's show, we're talking about AI, which might be one of the most overhyped, understood topics there is.
Yeah, no kidding. I think what is the prevailing thought for me is that we've been doing AI for years. And by we, I mean we broadly as a society. We've been doing it for years and years and years. It just wasn't called AI. It wasn't called something that was so specific. Or I'm trivializing just like what a lot of companies are doing, because you're seeing a lot come out and say, oh, this is powered by AI because it's some level of artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? It's just providing some type of artificially driven calculation and output. That's it. There's a lot of that. You can do it in Excel with a simple formula. That's artificial intelligence. I'm giving it an input. I'm then applying it and copying it and providing a lot of different things. So the concept of artificial intelligence, the word, the phrase, is being abused by a lot of previous things that are still great and highly valuable things. And so as we're starting to see this roll out, we're seeing a marketing phenomenon that's kind of taking the word AI and applying it to a lot of areas that just traditionally always existed. But you also have these new models that are coming out like Gemini, and you have Facebook's Llama and Copilot, all these different platforms that are going to provide more of a big data, true new innovation AI mentality that you can then build on top of. And that's different. And so when you have both of these concepts kind of come together, you're starting to get a very watered down, oversaturated, what I think is an abused term of artificial intelligence. And it's doing a disjustice to what the potential can really be, kind of like what happened with blockchain in the past.
So that's what we'll be talking about on today's episode, sharing some social posts and insights from experts in the industry, but also giving our opinion on it. But more importantly, this kicks off a mini series on the topic that's going to run for the next 3 weeks. So next week, we'll be talking to Nupur Bakshi, head of product and product-led growth and monetization at Zoom. Now, when we interviewed Bakshi, she was senior director of product management at Hewlett Packard and had recently left a stint at Microsoft where she spearheaded AI development for the Salesforce Service Cloud. Some great insights she provided. And then the following week, we'll share insights from our conversation with Dr. Tina Manoharan, Vice President, Global Leader of AI and Digital Innovation at Philips. And Tina gave us some awesome insights into how AI is radically removing friction from delivery of healthcare services to patients and changing how providers interact with patients.
And Chuck, that's one area where I really, truly think AI is going to thrive. And that's in helping make sure that doctors get it right. I know personally, I've always had this reluctance of the medical system, mostly because I feel like every time I enter a doctor's office, they feel a necessity to provide some kind of solution. I don't necessarily want a solution. I want a step in my path to figure out where I'm going, right? I don't need you to tell me, hey, you got a problem, here's a medication. I need you to say, well, I believe this is something that we can investigate over time, and I want to make sure to get it right. And I feel like our medical industry is so hell-bent on the solution that we're missing the journey that it needs to take. And this can be applied to many different areas. AI is going to help us get it right and get us on the right path more often than not. And I'm really excited about that specific use case.
So be sure to join us for the next 3 weeks for a great series of conversations on using AI to drive frictionless digital experiences. All right, so let's talk about how AI is going to impact the product management role and just how we develop digital products. And I'm going to start with a quote that has nothing to do with product management. Sir Martin Sorrell, in a speech recently, the famous quote that got pulled out of it was, "Turkeys don't get to vote for Christmas." And it was in the context of, hey, things like media planning in an ad agency is going to be replaced by AI. Because fundamentally, media planning is a very numbers driven. It's crunching a bunch of numbers to determine reach and frequency and certain goals and things like that. His point was, we're going to replace those kinds of roles and we're going to double down on other roles like creative. And we'll still use AI in creative, but there's certain things that agencies do well. So what's your take on that? And as you think about how this is going to impact product management, how we develop products and the role of AI?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the way I kind of interpret that is basically to say that those that are most likely to be replaced are turkeys going to be served for the holidays.
You lost me completely on that. Say that again. Those that are the turkeys?
Those that are the turkeys. The turkeys are going to be replaced.
Okay. But the prime ribs will not be.
Well, you fundamentally have to go figure out what part. Will AI be able to reduce how many product managers you need?
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. I buy that.
Will it be able to replace the role of product management? Not in a million years.
Got it. Okay. Well, it's interesting because they've talked about this in developers, and I was chatting with somebody who recently lost their job, was looking for a job in software development, and what I've been reading is, if you don't have AI, there's lots of these developers who are in their 40s who've been doing software engineering or development for 20 years, but they don't have AI experience and they're finding it hard to get a job now because what everybody cares about are experience in AI. So, where was I going with that?
I think you're just trying to scare the audience. You're just trying to tell them,
no, we were talking about
brush up your resume and get it ready for product management, guys.
Now I remember I was going to bring that back. So the idea is, your point is, there are aspects of it that can be replaced, but not entirely replace the role.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, AI fundamentally is trying to make us more efficient. When push comes to shove, that's all it's really trying to do. So any AI engine, anything you've done in and around AI is just trying to make it so that you can do more things in a day. How many hours are in a day? I don't even remember who made this quote, but there's something like 16 hours in a day.
Aren't there 24?
No. 16 hours in a working day that you have to squeeze into 8.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It was something like that. I'm totally butchering it. But ultimately, how do I get more out of every single hour that I have available to work? Because frankly, I'm a father. I don't want to always be working, but I need to be effective in my job to be able to continue to succeed for my family. So it's a catch-22. But AI is going to help me do that. AI is going to help me get to those 16 hours when I can only actually work the 8.
Gotcha. By making you more efficient. Making you more efficient.
But also, in turn, that replaces other roles. Because now I am more efficient. I'm doing more than I otherwise would have done. And so what is going to happen is I'm going to be able to take on more products as a product manager.
So they'll just give you another 8 hours of work since you eliminated the 8 hours.
Well, now I got to figure out how to get to 24. Did I do right math? Yes, I did.
You got to
I
a
need
full
an
day.
AI engine for that.
All right. So Lenny Rachitsky in his Lenny's newsletter, right, talked about this topic recently. And he talked about, and the question, it was based on a question somebody asked him. I'll go to the exact question here. Hold on 1 second. What are the core skills for product managers and to what extent they will be replaced, impacted, or influenced by AI? So before I talk about what his opinion was, what's your opinion? Just what's your top line thinking on that?
I mean, we already kind of talked about it a little bit, but product management in part will absolutely be replaced or made more efficient is probably the better way to put it, to the point where will a product manager, as like if there are 1 million product management jobs today, and then next year after you implement AI, are there 800,000 now? I do think that's a true statement.
So you think the overall opportunities for product managers will eventually decline?
In a like for like world, yes.
Okay. Unless there's more products being created or more.
And that's what I mean by like for
Okay,
like.
gotcha. Okay. So you're saying companies could do more and strategically
Correct.
advance a lot more and maybe grow revenue in ways they couldn't because
Correct.
you can now build products and do things that you couldn't do.
Exactly.
Because you freed up the product managers from the more repetitive tasks.
Yeah. Need to focus on the strategic tasks.
Okay, gotcha. Strategic. Okay, so what?
Is exactly where I disagree with what Lenny was saying. Because he actually goes into the fact that he says that strategy can be replaced.
So let's break this down in that way, the way Lenny terms it. So he believes there's 3 essential functions of a product manager. Shape the product. So that's the strategy, what the product is. Ship the product. That means getting it out on time, without a ton of errors. And then sync the people. And that's coordinating everybody and getting them all on the same page and building the roadmap, et cetera. And that overlap is where the impact is in the 3. Okay. So you agree with the 3 categories?
I do.
Okay. So now let's break down where he says, and this is where you can object if you want. So under shape the product, he feels like what will be significantly impacted is developing a product strategy and vision. And you disagree with that.
I disagree. I think that's fundamentally the most important thing product managers doing. And you are going to create a watered down result by leveraging AI to be able to figure that out.
So I think part of his point was it's going to be able to go parse all the data. You don't feel like it can parse the data and come back and tell you where you should focus effort in the product?
Uh, right. I mean, I guess you could go incrementally make a benefit in some specific product because AI helped you figure that out, but that doesn't mean that you're fundamentally changing the strategy based on AI. AI isn't doing that task for you.
Isn't coming up with the strategy.
It's not.
Okay.
In my view, it's not. Now, can I go and help to figure out where some value is in some ways that AI is going to open up and I otherwise would have missed it? Sure. But that doesn't mean that I've answered that and replaced that core competency.
Okay. Got it. And then the other area is setting goals. He thinks could be significantly impacted.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one to see that it can be. I mean, you can use AI to create a reasonable goal. You could also use AI to create a contextual goal. That's all built into the data. So when we talk about understanding where AI can really be influenced, it's trying to figure out that a lot of that, the mathematics and the scientific aspects, that's where a lot of AI can be applied very easily. Whereas the intangibles are where it's harder to apply AI.
Much like media planning, like we were talking about. Okay, got it. Now, where he feels like it will have little impact is building a roadmap, building the actual roadmap.
I definitely agree with that. I just I fundamentally feel like there's a disconnection between the strategy side and building the roadmap.
In his statements.
In his statements, yeah, I feel like he's contradicting himself.
Okay, gotcha. So he believes it can give you a first draft, but the magic comes with looking at all the hierarchy of needs, hierarchy of opportunity, all that stuff is more human based.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's easy to agree with, but that gets into the art of product management.
Right. Okay. Got it. And then the other is giving product and design feedback. He believes AI will have little impact on that.
So product and design feedback, I mean, it can be enhanced by AI. So I think AI can help you get more out of that specific aspect, and that artificial intelligence can make that research point more effective. And so I think that actually that won't necessarily replace that part of your role, but that will absolutely be able to enhance it in time.
And potentially save you time because it's pulling all the data. Is that your point, or?
My point is to make the actual research elements more effective. So when I'm going out and trying to figure it out, there's many ways you can do it. You can create user groups, and you can go through user studies. You can go for, say it's a digital product online, of course. You can just collect it from your users in a feedback manner. AI can make my feedback aspect more effective by understanding what my users are doing and reading the interactions that they have on the actual user experience and providing that as feedback in and of itself. So I'm getting more data as a result of potentially enhanced AI. And so while Lenny's focusing on saying that there's little impact over it, I think he's missing the aspect that it can be enhanced. He might be saying it's little impact in the sense that that task isn't going to be offloaded, but fundamentally speaking, you can understand more out of that aspect of your role using AI.
So let me see if I get the difference. So as opposed to asking people about the experience, which is the more manual way, you're saying AI could actually look at what they're doing and uncover patterns.
It's certainly a possibility, but even be more effective in asking.
Because one of the things I've learned over years of doing surveys, how you ask the question changes dramatically the data.
You and I could go on and on about biased surveys. I know.
Yeah.
We have before.
Yeah.
But
that's a topic for another show.
Of course.
Okay. All right. His second area was ship the product. So that's getting the product out. He feels like what will be significantly impacted by AI is quality assurance.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one to generally agree with. AI is going to be able to help detect any kind of anomaly inside the data way easier than you otherwise would be able to.
That makes sense. And then he feels like the two areas where it would not be is adjusting resources and priorities when things come up. Actually, it was just one area, just that one area. And his point was, where people go on vacation unexpectedly or something like that, or there's competing priorities and stuff, that's going to require a human to kind of weigh. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
or is that where Musk is right? The AI is going to get better at it.
Oh, Musk. I think AI could potentially help with that if you start thinking about prioritization and understanding where to be most effective. Then the aspect of what you have to do when things go awry with scope creep and someone going on vacation or sick, you just have to figure out how to prioritize, and it's a game of priorities. So if AI can help you prioritize to be able to understand, okay, this level of effort, this level, this amount of time, this whatever is needed to be able to complete any specific project and be able to put them all on top of each other. Now all of a sudden your product can be actually dynamically measured.
Interesting. But the product doesn't exist today to do that.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'm just thinking creatively.
You're working on your next venture? All right. So the last area was sync the people. He felt like what it could help in most was running meetings.
Yeah. I mean, this is one where I get why he's bringing it up. But the product manager's role isn't to run the meeting. Product manager's role is to create successful products. So, I mean, everyone can use this as a lesson.
Like AI recording that takes notes and summarizes and stuff, like we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not fundamentally a product management role. That's just being
right. Everybody in the meeting could benefit from it.
Being a professional. Just learn to work.
Okay. And then the two areas that he felt were it would not be used as aligning your team and maintaining team morale.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy one to understand, and one of the aspects that I feel like I've always been able to lean into and do very well in is being able to talk to either side in a concise manner while representing both sides. For instance, while I was an engineer, I'd be able to talk to product managers representing what engineering needs to represent, but understanding why product management needs a specific business KPI. Flip side, I'm product manager. I need my business KPI, but I can fundamentally understand why engineering is a certain way. So I'm communicating in a bilateral manner that allows me to be able to succeed more. So when you really start being a successful product manager, you understand how to communicate into the tech side in a business practical sense, or vice versa.
So it sounds like you're really arguing soft skills versus hard skills.
Oh, absolutely.
Hard skills will be replaced. Soft skills are the part that can't be replaced by.
Yeah, so we need a bunch of soft artists.
What, they specialize in soft materials? Felt art? I don't know. What is soft arts? I don't know.
It sounded like a funny joke.
All right. So bottom line, product managers not getting replaced. Maybe there'll be fewer product managers in the future if we make them more efficient, and you can take those 16 hours, turn it into 8 hours because the tools help. Or we'll get better at building even more amazing products that we haven't even thought of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you really start to boil it down, AI is just trying to make us more efficient, more effective.
Okay, I'd agree with that. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in for this episode of the Frictionless Experience podcast. Be sure to like us on your favorite podcast app, or follow us so that you get notified every time we have a new episode. And also like us on Apple Podcasts and let us know what you'd like us to cover. We're happy to talk about anything. And you can find Nick and me on LinkedIn.